Hello. Welcome to the End of the World show. This might be my last stream. Hey, hello. Sir Melon 61. Are you there? starting my day. I'm not sure how it's going to go. There are absolutely no vehicles on the road. There's a few taxis, I guess. Some emergency vehicles. Not much else. Still pretty early. It's 5 o'clock here. I'm going to make some bagels this morning. Montreal bagels, Vancouver style. I just put my first batch in. Just waiting for them to cook up. Tell you a story or recite a poem for you if you'd like. Or we can talk about the end times. Because that's all I can think about talking about right now. The story. You want to hear a story? Okay. If you've seen me stream before, you've probably heard this story before. Because I only know two. Actually, I know three, but I haven't started. I haven't. What's the word? Finished memorizing the other one, I guess. Yeah. I need to practice it a few more times in my head, and I have to start practicing it out loud. Anyways, here's one of the two stories that I know. There was okay. Let me clear my mouth and my mind here. There once was a young man named Roland Pide who played the recorder when he wasn't baking bagels. One day he was walking through a park and playing his recorder to rest a while from all his baking, when suddenly he spied a corpse lying on the ground beneath a swarm of flies. He put down his recorder, walked over to the corpse, shooed the flies away, and covered the dead man with stones. Returning to his oven later that day, he found that his oven blade had gone on by itself and already baked half the bagels he needed. From that day on, Roland Pide was the happiest baker alive. He'd bake until he was tired, then he'd pull his recorder out of his pocket while his oven blade went on by itself. But Roland Pide lived in a town whose mayor did not admire his skill and was jealous of his fame. So the mayor devised a plan to rid the town of Roland. In the beginning, he said that Roland was a good worker, but lazy. Next, he said that Roland baked a whole lot, but badly. Then he accused Roland of being a sorcerer, and the people turned on him. Therefore, Roland Pide took his recorder and left his home behind. When Roland Pide came to a neighboring town, he went to all the business owners, but none of them would give him any work. Finally, he met an old busker and asked him for work to keep body and mind together. "Come along with me," said the old man, "and we will share alms." So Roland Pide and the old man started going around and singing, "Baker, why do you bear those silent things? Baker, how did you forget to stand where your feet are? Baker, no woman loves your wealth, although it is golden and good for her health. Baker, you are too dirty for a lover to wish to preen. Your limbs are the knots and cords of an old-fashioned machine. Baker, line the rings and bash the boards. You don't need their applause for a thing that is yours. You are a baker and are what you are, not by a miracle, but by the work of your arms. Baker, be who you are." Everybody gave alms to the old man, but to Roland they said, "What is a young man like you out begging? Why don't you work for a living?" "Nobody will hire me," replied Roland Pide. "That's what you say. There is a king with so many hungry soldiers that he'll pay good wages to anyone willing to feed them." So Roland Pide went to the king's kitchen and took the old man whose alms he'd been sharing. The oven had never been used by anyone. Roland mixed the dough, then he rolled it into rings, then he boiled them, dressed them with seeds, and baked them until they're golden brown. Then he tossed them into a crate to cool down. Whenever Roland wearied of baking, he'd play his recorder, and once he was weary of playing his recorder, he would sing, "Baker, why do you bear those silent things? Baker, how did you forget to stand where your feet are? Baker, no woman loves your wealth, although it is golden and good for her health. Baker, you are too dirty for a lover to wish to preen. Your limbs are the knots and cords of an old-fashioned machine. Baker, line the rings and bash the boards. You don't need their applause for a thing that is yours. You are a baker, and darling, you are, not by a miracle, but by the work of your arms. Baker, be who you are. Hearing the singing, a princess looked out the window. She saw Roland Pye and fell in love with him. But she was a princess, and he a baker. The king would never consent to their marriage. So they decided to run away together. They fled at night in a boat. They were already on the high seas when Roland remembered the busker. He said to his beloved, "We must fetch the old man, since he shared his alms with me. We can't go off and leave him like that." At that very moment, the old man came up behind the boat, walking on the water as though it had been dry land. Reaching the boat, he said, "We agreed to divide everything we had, and I shared everything I own. Now you have the king's daughter. You must give half of her to me." At this, he gave Roland Pye a knife to cut his bride in two. Roland Pye took the knife with a trembling hand. "You are right," he said. "You are perfectly right." He was on the point of cutting his bride in two when suddenly the old man stopped him. "Stop. I knew you were a just man. I'm the dead man, mind you, whom you covered with stones. Go now, and may the two of you always be happy." At this, the old man walked away on the waves. The boat came to an island rich in all good things, with a princely palace awaiting the newlyweds. The end. The end. This is the end. These bagels are taking too long to boil. They're not soft enough yet. That was Roland Pye and the Oven Blade. Oh, thank you. It's based on an Italian folktale that was anthologized by Italo Calvillo. It's one of my all-time favorite books, anthologies, whatever you want to call it. I've changed a few of the details of the story for my own purposes. In the original story, the main character is actually a tiller of the fields. So I guess that would be a farmer. They call him a tiller of the fields in the story. And so I guess he'd be some kind of farm worker or something. So I changed his occupation to a baker. And I changed his name to Roland Pye from Joseph Siafulu. And what else did I change? He played the flute, and I changed it to recorder. Or yeah, I think it said I think in the original it was a flute. It's hard at first. It's hard to learn, I guess. But once you practice it and do it for a while, it's pretty easy to do. I've been doing this for pretty much, I think, close to 7 years now. So I have a lot of experience. It's pretty automatic now. It's like riding a bicycle. I don't have my regular scraper today. I usually have a metal scraper. Works better than a flimsy plastic one. plastic one is quieter though. Guess I'll have to live with it for now. I'm gonna put my next batch in. So I got my first batch in the oven. First batch. Put our second batch in. Oh no, I don't have enough bagels. Oh no. Need to go some bagels. Let's bring this. Okay, I'll be back in a minute here. There we go. Got two batches. One in the oven, one in the pot. Gotta change my gloves. This one looks okay. Why did I start baking? Why did I start baking bagels? Well, I guess the long story is, when I was in university, I worked at a bakery, so I have had experience baking, and I moved to Vancouver about 7 years ago, and I was looking for a job. And I found this one online. I applied for it. I liked it. I stuck around. I've been doing it for 6-7 years now. And I don't know if that's a long story or the short story. I guess it's the short story. I could probably go into more detail. But yeah, why stop doing something you like doing, hey? And if you're making a living doing it, that's even better. I don't know how much longer this career will last, though, considering what's happening in the world. It's not a good industry to be working in right now. Not a lot of job security going on, to say the least. Hopefully our government has a bit of a bailout here for its citizens. I might need a bit of a bailout if I don't have a job. I need a bailout. I have a job for now, though. See how long it lasts. Do the bagels taste good? Yes, the bagels taste fantastic. There we go, we got our first batch on the deck. Here's a poem about how a community suffers because its government, the administration, fails to prepare the infrastructure for infestation, a pandemic, one might say. Of rat, pandemic of rat infestations. It's a poem that's a parable. This is called the Pied Piper of Hamlet. And it's a poem about our own times, really. Still relevant today. I don't like this shiva. I can change it here. Maybe this one's better. Anyways, yeah. So this is a Pied Piper of Hamlet, and it's a parable about our own that can be applied to our own times. Parable that teaches a lesson that is still particularly relevant to our own condition. Hamlin Towns in Brunswick, my famous Hanover city, the river Weser, deep and wide, washes its wall on the southern side. A pleasanter spot you've never spied, but when begins my ditty, almost 500 years ago, to see the townsfolk suffer so from vermin was a pity. Rats, they fought the dogs and killed the cats, and bit the babies in the cradles, and ate the cheeses from the vats, and licked the soup from the cook's own ladles, split open the kegs of salted sprats, made nests of the men's Sunday hats, and even spoiled the women's chats by drowning out their speaking with shrieking and squeaking in 50 different sharps and flats. At last, people in a body to the town hall came flocking. "'Tis clear," cried they, "our mayor is a naughty, and as for our corporation, shocking. If you can buy gallons lined with ermine, for goats who can't or won't determine what's best to rid us of our vermin. You hope because you're old and obese to find in furry civic robes ease. Rouse up, sirs, give your brains a racking to find the remedy we are lacking, or sure as fate will send you packing." At this, the mayor and corporation quaked with a mighty consternation. An hour they sat in council. At length, the mayor broke silence. "For a gilder eyed my urban gown sell, I wish I were a mile hence. It's easy to bid one rack one's brain. I'm sure my poor head aches again. I scratch it so, but all in vain. Oh, for a trap, a trap, a trap." Just he said this watcher hat at the chamber door, but a gentle tap. "Bless us," cried the mayor, "what's that?" With the corporation as he sat, looking little through wondrous fat, nor brighter were his eyes, nor moister than a too long opened oyster, save when at noon his paunch drew newness, for a plate of curdled green and glutinous. Only a scraping of shoes on a mat, anything like the sound of a rat makes my heart go pit-a-pat. "Come in," cried the mayor, looking bigger, and in did come the strangest figure. His long clear curl from heel to head was half yellow and half red, and he himself was tall and thin, with sharp blue eyes, each like a pin, and light loose hair and swarthy skin, nor tuft of hair on cheek nor beard on chin. But lips with smile went out and in. There was no guessing his kith or kin, and nobody could enough admire this tall man in his quaint attire. Quoth one, "It's as my great-grandsire, starting up at the trump of doom's tone, had walked this way from his painted tombstone." He advanced towards the council table. "And please, your honor," said he, "I am able, by means of secret charm, to draw all the creatures living beneath the sun, that crawl or swim or fly or run, after me so as you never saw. And I chiefly use my charm on creatures that do people harm, the mole and toad and newt and viper, and people call me the Pied Piper. And here they notice around his neck a scarf of red and yellow stripe to match with his coat to self-made. And at scarf's end hung a pipe, and his fingers they noticed were ever straying, as if impatient to be playing upon this pipe, as low it dangled over his vesture so old-fangled. Yes," said he, "Pied Piper as I am, in Tartaria fred the cam, last June from his huge swarms of gnats. I eased in Asia than I am of a monstrous brood of vampire bats. And as for what your brain bewilders, if I rid your town of rats, will you give me 1,000 guilders?" 50,000 was the exclamation of an astonished mayor and corporation. Into the street the piper stepped, smiling first a little smile, as if he knew what magic slept in his quiet pipe the while. Like a musical adept, to blow his pipe his lips he wrinkled, and green and blue his sharp eyes twinkled, like a candle flame where salt is sprinkled. And ere 3 shrill notes the pipe uttered, he heard as if an army muttered, and muttering grew to a grumbling, and a grumbling grew to a mighty rumbling, and out of the houses came the rats tumbling, great rats, small rats, lean rats, brawny rats, brown rats, black rats, gray rats, tawny rats, grave old plotters, gay young friskers, fathers, mothers, uncles, cousins, cocking tails and pricking whiskers, families by tens and dozens, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, followed the Pied Piper for their lives. From street to street he piped advancing, and step to step they followed dancing, until they came to the river Weser, wherein all plunged and perished, save one who stout as Julius Caesar, swam across and lived to carry, as he the manuscript he cherished, to Ratland home his commentary, which was, after shrill notes of the pipe, I heard a sound as of scraping tripe, and putting apples wondrous ripe into the cider presses bright, and moving away a pickle cupboard, leaving a jar of constant cupboards, and drawing the corks of train off last, and breaking into butter casks. And it seemed as if a voice sweeter far than by Harper by Solomon Reed called out, "Oh, rats, rejoice! The world has grown to a vaster and sultry. So munch on, crunch on, take your lunch on, breakfast, supper, dinner, lunch on, and just a malty sugar punch on. Already stayed like a great sun shone, gracious scarce an inch before me. Just methought it said, come bore me. I found the Weser rolling over me." "You You should have heard the Hamlin people ring the bells as they rock the steeple. Go, cried the mayor, get long poles, poke with the nest and block up the holes, consult with carpenters and builders, and leave in our town not even a trace of the rats. When suddenly up the face of the piper perked in the marketplace, with the first, if you please, my 1,000 guilders. 1,000 guilders? The mayor looked blue, so did the corporation too, for council dinners made her havoc with Claret, Moselle, Vin de Graaf, Hawk, and half the money would replenish their cellar's biggest butt of Rhenish, to pay the sum to a wondering fellow, with gypsy coat of red and yellow. Besides, quoth the mayor with a knowing wink, our business was done at the river's brink. We saw with our eyes the vermin sink, and what's dead can't come to life, I think. So, friend, we're not folks to shrink from our duty of giving you something to drink. The matter of money to put in your poke, but as for the guilders, what we spoke of them, as you well know, wasn't joke. Besides, the losses have made us thrifty. 1,000 guilders, come, take 50. The piper's face fell and he cried, no trifling, I can't wait beside. I promise a visit by dinner time, Baghdad, and accept the prime the head cook's potage. All he is rich in, for having left in the Caliph's kitchen of a nest of scorpions, no survivor. With him I prove no bargain driver. With you don't think I'll bait a stiver. And folks who put me in a passion may find me pipe after another fashion. How, cried the mayor, do you think I brook, being worse treated than a cook, insulted by a ribald, with idle pipe and vesture piebald? Threaten us, fellow, do your worst, blow your pipe there till you burst. Once more he stepped into the street, to his lips again laid his long pipe, a smooth straight cane, and ere he blew 3 notes, such sweet soft notes as yet musicians cunning never gave the enraptured air. There was a rustling, it seemed like a bustling, and merry crowds jostling and pitching and hustling. Small feet were pattering, wooden shoes clattering, little hands clapping, little tongues chattering, like foals in a farmyard and barley is scattering. Out came the children running, all the little boys and girls, with rosy cheeks and flaxen curls, and sparkling eyes and teeth like pearls, tripping and skipping around merrily after. The wonderful music was shouting and laughter. The mayor was dumb, and the council stood, as if they're changed into blocks of wood, unable to move a step or cry, to the children merrily skipping by, could only follow with an eye the joyous crowd at the piper's back, and how the mayor was on the rack, and the wretched council bosoms beat, as the piper turned from the high street, to where the Weser rolled its waters, right in the way of their sons and daughters. However, he turned from the southwest, to Copperberg Hill his steps addressed, and after him the children pressed, great was the joy in every breast. He never crossed the mighty top, he's forced to let the piping drop, and we shall see our children stop. When lo, they reached the mountainside, a wondrous portal opened wide, as if the cavern was suddenly hollowed. The piper advanced and the children followed. When all were in the very last, the door on the mountainside shut fast. Did I say all? No one was lame and could not dance all of the way. And then after years, if you would blame the sadness, he used to say, as dull and marked town since my playmates left, I can't forget that I'm bereft of all the pleasant sights to see, which the piper also promised me. For he led us, he said, to a joyous land, joining town and just at hand, where waters gush and fruit trees grew, and flowers of forth a fairer hue, and everything new strange and new. The sparrow was bright and peacock here, and their dogs were round our fellow deer, and honeybees had lost their stings, and horses were born with eagle's wings. And just as I became assured, my lame foot would be speedily cured. The music stopped, and I stood still, and found myself outside the hill, left behind against my will, to go down limping as before, and never hear of that country more. Alas, alas for Hamelin, that came to many a burgher's pate, a text which says at heaven's gate, opes to the rich at as easy rate, as the needle's eye takes a camel in. The mayor sent east, west, north, and south, to offer the piper by word of mouth, wherever was men's lot to find him, silver and gold to his heart's content, if only he'd return the way he went, and bring the children behind him. But when they saw 'twas lost endeavor, and piper and dances were gone forever, they made a decree that lawyers never should take their records dated duly, if after the day of the month and year, these words do not as well appear. And so long after what happened here, on the 22nd of July, 1376, and the better memory fixed, the place of the children's last retreat, they called it the Pied Piper Street, where anyone playing pipe or tabor was sure for his future lose his favor. Nor suffered they hospital or tavern, shocked from earth the street so solemn, and opposite the place of the tavern, there was the story on a column, and on great church window painted, the same to make the world acquainted, how their children were stolen away, and there it stands this very day. And I must not admit to say, in Transylvania there is a tribe of alien people who ascribe the way and dress of which their neighbors lay such stress to their fathers and mothers having risen out of some subterranean prison into which they were Japan a long time ago in a mighty band out of Hamlin towns in Brunswick land, but how or why they don't understand. So, Lily, Let me and you be wipers of scores out with all men, especially pipers. And if they should pipe us free from rats, from mice, if we promise them aught, let us keep our promise. Yeah, exactly. It's really interesting that our political elite are still screwing things up. So, like, I mean, Robert Browning wrote that poem 150 years ago or more, and it's the same story. It's a political elite, politicians, CEOs, billionaires. They're doing irresponsible things. Is endangering everybody else's lives and our livelihoods. We should have been prepared for something like this, but we're not. Well, maybe we are. I don't know. It's just the start of the pandemic. Who knows what's going to happen? I don't know. I'm no prophet. I'm not an oracle. Maybe they'll live up to the challenge. Here I am criticizing them when I should be probably self-isolating, but I don't know. I'm supposed to be earning a living though. What am I supposed to do? This job is sort of self-isolating though. It's just me in a 400 degree oven, some bagels, all day long pretty much. Just me and the bagels. There once was a rich man who had just one son. The boy was dearly loved by his father. As everybody knows, the greatest scourge in earth for a rich man is work. Therefore, when his son turned 14, the father decided to send him to school to learn the science of laziness. On the same street as the rich man, there lived a famous and highly respected professor who had never done a lick of work in his life he could get out of doing. The rich man called on him and found him stretched out in the garden under a fig tree, with a cushion under his head, a cushion under his back, and a cushion under his buttocks. Before talking to him, I must first see how he does, said the rich man to himself, and he hid behind a hedge to observe the man. The professor lay as still as a corpse with his eyes closed. The only time he moved was whenever he heard the thud of a ripe fig falling on the ground near where he lay. He'd reach slowly out, bring the fruit to his mouth, and swallow it. Then he wouldn't stir again until another fig fell. This is just the professor my son needs, decided the rich man. And he came out from his hiding place, introduced himself, and asked the professor if he'd teach his son the science of laziness. Old man, answered the professor just above a whisper. Don't talk so much. It tires me to listen to you. If you want to bring your son up as you and I are, just send him to me. So the rich man went home, took his son by the hand, thrust a feathered pillow under his arm, and led him to the garden. I urge you, he told him, to do everything you see this Professor Violence do. The boy, who already had an inclination for that particular science, also stretched out under the fig tree. Observing his teacher, he saw him reach for every fig that fell and bring it to his mouth. Why should I work myself to death reaching for figs, he thought. He lay there with his mouth wide open. Soon a fig fell into his mouth, and he let it go down slowly. Then he reopened his mouth. Another fig fell. This time it missed. He lay there perfectly still and murmured, Why so wide of the mark? Fig fall into my mouth. Seeing how wise his pupil already was, the professor said, Go on now. You have nothing to learn from me. You can even teach me something. So the boy went home to his father, who thanked heaven for having given him such a smart son. The end. That was the science of laziness. I had to change the details in that story as well, because it was sort of Orientalist, let's say, Oriental racist. Sort of an example of Oriental racism. No, we're not open yet. We don't open. We open at 7 o'clock. I think 7 o'clock. We might have changed the hours. We might open later now. Everything's changing so fast. I don't even know if I'll have a job next week. Yeah, we open at 7 or 8. We usually open at 7, but I think they might have changed the hours to 8 o'clock because of this pandemic. And the P word, the big P word. Four batches. Wah ha 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 ha. Hello. Ha ha ha. I will not do no such thing. What kind of fetishist are you? What kind of paraphiliac perversion do you have? You must think I have enormous genitalia. There we go. We got our first batch baked to completion. Maybe I'll flip them again. Actually, no, right there. Good. Yeah. You can take them out. Into the crate they go. Oh, they smell delicious. I love the smell of hot sesame. Hot sesame. It sort of smells like, popcorn in a way. With a hint of peanut or something. Oh, the smell of hot sesame. One day you'll be able to smell it through your telephone because Intel is developing a computer chip that can smell. And one day you'll be able to have that computer chip in your phone and it'll sense the smell, then it'll emit some kind of perfume into your face that chemically reproduces that scent. Spray right in your face, like FaceTime, but with smell. They'll have to change the name of your phone to a smellophone, and when you answer your phone, you'll have to say Smello. Smello, my name is Steven. Let me get my smellophone. Let me smell you later. Yeah, it's hot in there. So this is the first time I've been mildly trolled on Twitch. Twitch is like been a pretty mild place compared to Periscope. Periscope's it's the wild west of streaming. It's like anything goes in Periscope. Oh, Periscope is it's like Twitter's live streaming app. It's nuts. Don't do it. There's some crazy people on that. There's Corona pirates sailing the seas of the Twitter. Those Corona pirates. They'll steal everything from you and try to sell it back to you for more than they paid. Or, I mean, they didn't pay anything for it because they stole it. No. Corona pirates. Yeah, don't put up your Periscope in those seas. Keep it down. Keep your Periscope down in those seas. There be trolls dancing on the waves. Yeah, I'll occasionally play video games. I'm finding my attention span for video games is limited though. I'd rather read a book. I know that seems contradictory. I was gonna play Doom, the 2016 Doom, but I haven't got around to it. I think I might buy it. Although I won't be able to play it today because I'm working this shift and I'm working again later in the evening. I've been sort of short shifted here. Double shifted. I'm just trying to take all the shifts I can take right now though, because I don't know if there's going to be many more in the future. Just trying to enjoy my livelihood while it lasts here. Baking in the end times. 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 That's my song called Baking in the End Times. It's also the name of the show. What games? I've been playing Far Cry Primal, Vermintide. I like Warhammer, Warhammer type games, role-playing games. I think I can try to get into that Baldur's Gate 3 when it comes out. Try to play that. I remember playing the original Baldur's Gate. I was going to college when the original Baldur's Gate came out. Oh my god, that makes me sound old. Yeah, I want to play Doom. I can play Doom. I guess Doom Eternal's coming out this Friday. I don't know if I'll play Doom Eternal, but I can play the other one that came out a few years ago. And then if I like that one, I think I'll buy Doom Eternal. Play that. I like first-person shooters. I never used to like them, but now I think I really like first-person shooters. I think it's like almost my favorite genre now. I like Borderlands, or Borderlands, yeah. I'm gonna start playing Borderlands 3 if I ever. It looks like if the bagel shop shuts down, I guess I'll have a lot more time to play video games, so maybe I'll start streaming some of that stuff. Maybe I'll try to keep like gaming hours as well. If I don't have nothing else to do, might as well, right? I need to buy a webcam though. Webcam or a cam link. Sort of like this, buy a cam link because I own some action cameras. Yeah, I've been watching Doctor Disrespect play it a bit, and Summit 1G. I've been watching those guys play it. It looks pretty fun. I have doubts about my skill level when it comes to those. I think I would just get slaughtered. So I don't. I haven't really played those battle royale games like PUBG and Fortnite and stuff like that. It looks pretty fun, but it also looks pretty challenging for a amateur gamer like myself. I should give it a shot though. Might really enjoy it. It looks fun. That like the team aspect of battle royale looks pretty fun. It looks like the best way to succeed at that game is to play as a coordinated team. So that'd be pretty interesting. I knocked the camera here. Oops. I must have hit it with a bagel or something. Or I hit it with my stick. An hour and 5 minutes. 7 minutes. An hour and 7 minutes. Yeah. An hour and 7 minutes. As long as they haven't changed the hours. They might have changed the hours here. It might be 2 hours and 7 minutes from now. I should go. There's a paper posted on our front door. I should go read it. See what's up. Yeah, I think we might be open from 8 to 6. We used to be open 7 to 8, I think it was, for the hours. But welcome to the new normal. I think I'm gonna shut down the stream here pretty quick. because I have a coworker coming in pretty soon, and I don't know. My phone's gonna die here pretty soon too, I think. I didn't attach my external battery to it. My external battery case. So I have limited battery available. I need some water. My body's experiencing some drought. It's pretty hot in here though. I'll recite one more poem before I go. There once was a young man. Oh no, that's how I was again. My first thought was he lied in every word, that hoary cripple with malicious eye, askance to watch the working of his lie on mine, and most scarce able to afford suppression of the glee that pursed and scored its edge at one more victim gained thereby. What else should he be sent for with his staff? What saved Waylay with his lies and snare? Old travelers who might find him posted there, and ask the road. I guessed what skull-like laugh would break, what crutch can write my epitaph of pastime in the dusty thoroughfare. If at his counsel I should turn aside into ominous track which all agree hides the dark tower, yet acquiescingly I deterred as he pointed, neither pride nor hope rekindling at the end descried, so much as gladness some end might be. For what with my whole world wide wondering, what with my search drawn out through years, my hope dwindled into a ghost not fit to cope with that obstreperous joy success would bring. I hardly tried now to rebuke the spring my heart made, finding failure in its scope. As a sick man very near to death's dead indeed, and feels begin and end the tears, and takes farewell of each friend, and hears one bids the other go, draw breath freely outside, since all is over, he saith, and the blow fallen, no grieving can amend. Well, while some discuss if near the graves be room enough for this, or when a day suits best for carrying the corpse away, with caribou banners, scarfs, and staves, and still the man hears all in unfazed, as he may not shame such tender love in his day. Thus I had for so long suffered in this quest, heard failure prophesied so often writ, so many times among the band of wit, the knights who two dark towers search addressed their steps, the just to fail as they seem best, and all doubt was now should I be fit. So quiet as despair I turned from him, a hateful cripple, out of his highway into the path he pointed, all the day had been a dreary one at best, dim when settled into its close, yet shot one grim red deer to see the plain catch its stray. For mark, no sooner was I fairly found, pledged the plain after feasting, the pausing for battle the last week, over the safe road was gone, great plain all round, nothing but plain with horizons bound. I must go on, naught else remained to do. So on I went. I think I never saw some starved ignoble nature, nothing grow, for flowers as well expect a cedar grove, but chortle and spurge according to their law, might propagate their kind with none wall, think of her being a treasure trove. No penry heard to sing for me, sing some strange sort word the lad's portion. See or close your eyes, said nature peevishly, and nothing skills. I can't help the case. 'Tis last judgment's fire must cure this place. Calcine its clods and set my prisoners free. If there pushed any ragged thistle stalk above its mates, its head was chalk. The balance. I lost my place there. Oh, I think I'm just gonna end the stream there while I'm ahead. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this isn't my last stream. Yeah. Farewell. Hope the world. Okay. Thanks for watching.